See, a lot of times, Denise did a fantastic job teaching you how you could earn. This is really pretty loud. Can you take it down just one more notch? But teaching you guys how you can earn tens of thousands and millions of dollars. But here's the differentiation, is you've got to know that you've got to become the right person in order to bring the revenue to you. So the difference is there are a lot of people who can sit in a meeting, but it's about what you're going to do when you walk out. So the first thing you have to do is you have to open your mind to learn something what? New. See, when I walked through the door, I was working at Emory University full-time, and I was a gymnastics coach in the evenings. So for me, that's what I knew. You could ask me any questions about gymnastics, I'd tell you how to do it. Well, I mastered that. But when it came to direct sales, I had to realize that I was what? New. So I had to be open to learn what they were teaching me. Some people have had a lot of success. You may be a successful doctor. You may be a successful entrepreneur in a different path. But when you get in here, if you're willing to open up your mind and learn what it takes to become successful here in this profession, then it makes your dots a lot closer to each other. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. The next thing is you got to know what? It's not easy. See, a lot of times I've gone to presentations where they paint this picture. You're going to get in. Everybody's going to sign up. And in another 2 weeks, you're going to be earning $1,000 a minute. And it doesn't work that way. See, it's simple, but it's not easy. And if it were easy, there you go. So here's what I want you to understand. When you get in, I want you to embrace the journey. Because this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Yes. But it's one of the, let me tell you something, it's one of the most rewarding marathons you'll ever run in your life if you're willing to finish it. The challenge is, most people get started, and what happens? Discouraged. They get discouraged. Why do they get discouraged?
They're not seeing things happen as quickly.
They're not seeing things happen as fast. What else? People are telling them no. Now let me just pause right there, because see, here's one thing that I found in this profession. People ask me all the time, Pasha, what's the difference between the person who comes in to this profession and they're able to make millions versus the person who doesn't? I said, because we don't get emotionally wrapped up in one of the smallest words that has the biggest effect on most people's lives. And that's N-O, no. So when someone tells me, no, here's what I understand and here's what I want you to get. See, you can take that two ways. Someone can say no to one person, and one person will take it as, no, I don't like you, no, I don't want to do business with you, no, I don't want to see you again, no, your business. That's not what I take it as. When someone says no to me, that they're not interested in the business, what they're saying is, no, I'm never going to receive a check. Not that Pasha Carter is not going to receive a check. They're saying that they're never going to receive a check in this profession. And that's their choice. So when people say no, they're not interested, to me, I feel sorry for them. Yeah. But I keep moving through those no's to find the what? Yes. And see, here's what I understand. What I understand is it's just like a pearl in an oyster. You're going to have to sort through hundreds of oysters and open them up and see what they, not how they look on the outside, but what they really have inside of them. And you're going to have to open them up and find out who has that pearl inside of them. And that's where you're going to find your leaders. And here's the thing you got to understand. In direct sales, it doesn't take a lot of leaders in order for you to succeed. You find you a handful of leaders, and trust me when I tell you, that handful of leaders, you lock arms and you can build a dynasty together. Does that make sense? Yes. You got to rid yourself of what?
Stinking thinking.
What is stinking thinking? Somebody tell me. Negative, but give me some examples. What's some examples of thinking, stinking thinking? I don't have enough time. What else?
I can't do this.
What else? I don't know enough people. What else?
This business is not for me.
This business is not for me. What else?
I've heard this before.
I've heard this before. What else?
I can't do it.
I'm shy. I can't do it. Now let me ask you a question. Where does all this stuff come from? From your past experiences. And see, here's what I want you to understand. When you're driving a car, you can't get to your destination consistently looking in your rearview mirror.
That's right.
And that's what most people do in their lives. They show up in a new business with all their past junk. And they wonder why the new business they're in isn't working. See, just because you didn't succeed at one thing doesn't mean you're going to not succeed in all things. Let me tell you what I teach my kids. I have 4 kids. And here's one thing that my husband and I, is very important to us, that they constantly make mistakes. Why? Because we want them to understand that a mistake doesn't mean you failed.
That's right.
See, mistakes, the more mistakes that you make means you're trying, means you're heading somewhere. And if we as adults can embrace and understand, the more no's you get, that means the more yeses you're going to get to. And the more mistakes and failures that you have, it's just like Thomas Edison. How many mistakes did he make trying to create the light bulb? See, if it was, what if he given up like the 500th time? It took thousands of times. We'd be sitting in the dark with candles. But because someone was willing to quote unquote what? Fail. Now we're able to be where we are from my perspective. You know what I mean? So now, wealth is a what?
Mindset.
Now here's the 3 things that you must develop. Number 1 is the what?
Discipline.
The discipline to what?
Start.
Now here's an interesting thing. I've met people who will come out to meeting after meeting after meeting. And they're always getting ready to get ready to get ready to one day get started. So every time they get ready to get started, they need one more piece of information in order to make sure that this is what they need to do to get started. And here's what I always say. You've got to have the discipline to say to yourself and understand, you're going to learn as you go.
Yes.
The beautiful thing about this is you can earn as you learn. But you've got to position yourself and take that step in the right direction and get started. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The next thing is you have to have the conviction to what?
To continue.
And this is the make it or break it, is continuing. Because it's easy to get started. It's easy to figure out a way to come up with $4.99 or $9.99. It might be challenging, but once you get in, now what do? See, it's when you get started and it's time to do your mixer. It's time to go through your planner. It's time to figure out how to do this and learn this that most people kind of give up. But see, here's what I want to share with you. When you get started in this, don't quit. And when I say that, don't quit the profession. Because network marketing has changed so many lives and created so many millionaires. But the challenge is most people get in, and before they get to the finish line, they throw in the towel. Now here's the great thing about this. What if I told you that if you just put your head down and learned and went to work, what if it took you 3 long years, but you're earning an extra $10,000 a month? Would it be worth it?
Yes.
What if it took you 10 long years? Let's just say it. 10. Think about your age right now. And think about how old you'll be in 10 years. Now, so God willing, 10 years is going to come anyway, right? So now, let me ask you a question. What if it took you 10 long years, but in 10 years you're making an extra $30,000 a month? Would it be worth it?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you a better question. What if you don't do this, and you continue to do whatever you're doing? Let's fast forward 10 years then. How does 10 years look now?
Yeah.
She's getting horrible. So the reason why I say that is because you've got to continue the journey. So, did I do that?
Keep clicking. Should.
Go over here. That's okay.
Yeah.
So, my first rodeo here. Okay, so here. The resolve is to what? Complete. Now see, completing for everybody is different. What is complete for you? Somebody tell me, what is completing for you? What is success to you? No, I'm really asking, like for real. What is success to you? To be able to live your life with choices. What about for you? What's success?
Freedom, I guess.
Freedom. What's freedom mean? Freedom to what?
Freedom to have trips out to work, hang out with my family.
To not have to work, hang out with your family. I like that. What about you guys? What is it for you? Yes.
Like she said, but it's financial freedom and no worries.
Financial freedom and no worries. I like that. Yes, you got some more. She's like, I got more.
To
Yeah.
have the ability to help others.
Bam, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. To have the ability to help others. See, here's for myself and my husband, for us completing it, when you get in a profession like this, here's what I want you to understand. It's never about you. It's about when people get in front of the room and want to tell me how big their group is and how much they've made, I know they don't get it. Because see, it's not about how big your group is. It's not about how many hundreds of thousands you've made. It's about how many other people have you gotten to that point. And that's when you're able to sit in the audience with pride when you watch your people walk the stage and get the accolades that you once got. Does that make sense? So now, what is success? See, it's all about your attitude. See, I want you to look at this little kid. It's all about how do you see yourself. Now, here's a true story. When I first got in this profession, I didn't see myself as that lion in the mirror. As a matter of fact, it was reversed. I may have been the lion, but I saw the kitten in the mirror. And I didn't have the self-confidence. I was afraid to talk to people. Every no would break me in the beginning. So for me, I had to go through that process of developing and building the strength. See, what I want you to understand is your mindset is like building a muscle. And you ever gone to the gym that first day? And if anybody's like me, if you've ever been an athlete, even if you hadn't been to the gym in 4 years, you go back like you've been there every day. Anybody else do that, and go do the same stuff that you do? So I do that all the time. You would think I would have learned, right? So you go in there, you get your weights, and you're in the mirror, you got your headphones going, and the next morning you wake up. And reality hits, because you can't move your arm. And so in order to brush your teeth, you have to do stuff like this. Lift your arm, and you're like, trust me, I've done this before. But what happens is, in order to build a muscle, you have to break down the muscle fiber in order to build a new muscle. See, the same thing is about success in your mindset. See, sometimes you've got to break down in your life in order to build up. And see, here's the problem. Most people want a test. They want the testimony, but they don't want to have to go through the test. And see, that's what I want you to get. Everything that you're going through right now is good. If people are telling you no, good. If you had 30 people confirmed last night and nobody showed up, good. If you had your first mixer and the room was empty, good. Now, why am I saying that? Because if you were to get up in front of this room and get promoted to the top position, and your whole testimony is, listen, I got in, everybody said yes, everything was great, and I hope everybody can do what I've done. You guys, here's what I want you to understand. Your story is what people are going to need to hear. So if you got in this industry and you quit, and then you came back and now you're a master success, the people who quit and came back need to hear your story. So that's why when I get in front of the room and I talk about getting started when I was 23 years old, let me tell you truthfully, I had nothing but desire. I was sleeping on the floor of my best friend's one-bedroom apartment when I got started in this profession. So what is it that you're going to have to go through, and whose lives are you going to touch? Because here's what I want you to understand. You take a look at your attitude. It's not about what you go through. It's about your attitude as you go through it. See, we can all go through stuff. You take a look at every single millionaire, billionaire. They have all got stories. But the unique thing that they all have is their attitude. So here's what I want you to understand. Who are you when you're in the valley? You know, my mentor used to say all the time, the road to success leads straight through the dump. The problem is most people park there and look around and ask questions like, how did I get here? Why is this happening to me? Oh, this happens to everybody in my family. It must be what we're made to do. And here's what I want you to understand. When you're going through the valley, just keep driving. And just understand that that's a part of the story. The next thing is habits. This is very, very important because when people ask about success, it's very, very simple. It is not difficult to become successful. It's just what you do consistently on a daily basis over a long period of time. One of my mentors told me years ago, he said, you know, there are two journeys. There's a journey to brokenness and there's a journey to wealth. And they're both just as easy. It's all based on what you do every single day. The small habits that you form every single day. Who you are when you wake up. What is it that you do every single day? See, a lot of us want a victory. We'll have a big event, and that one day we'll actually invite people to a meeting. And that's the only day we ever do it. But what if every single day you were to talk to 2 or 3 people? Every single day. We used to do this thing when I came through the ranks, and this is really what helped me build my business. A lot of people, this may be too much for you, so I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you what I did. I would talk to 10 people every single day. And I would get 10 pennies, and I would put them in one pocket in the beginning of the day. And then every person I would talk to, I would take the penny from the right pocket and put it in the left pocket. My goal was I could not go home until all 10 pennies from that right pocket were in the left, on the left side. Why? Because I was holding myself accountable. I knew that the small things that I did every single day were going to lead to the victory. So yours may be 5 people a day. Yours may be 2 people a day. It doesn't matter to me, but let me share something with you. Inviting 20 people on one day isn't going to get you success over a long time. That's great for you to do that, but what is it that you're going to do the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day? Because how many days usually, let's just say most of my sales about 30 days in a month, right? And you talk to 5 people a day. What's 30 times 5? How much? 150. But you only talk to how many a day? 5. So that 150 sounds big, but that 5 a day doesn't. Am I making sense to you? So out of the 150 people that you've talked through in that 30 days, what if just 20 of them got started in your business? Does that make sense to you? But how did they get started? You had a habit of what? Doing the things that make you money. Now let me tell you what most people do. They get in this business and they got habits all right. But they're not habits that make them money. They got habits of, what are some of the things that we do in this business that don't make you money?
Excuse. Procrastination.
Procrastination. Absolutely. They got a list, but instead of calling it, they got to make sure it's color-coded. Alphabetized. Ranked, all of this, And I get it because that phone is very heavy to pick up. But here's what I want. Here's what I teach my team. I said, look, you're going to work with me. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to write down the 10 people that you're most afraid to talk to. The 10 people that if they were to get in your business, you will feel like you hit the lottery. They have no idea why I'm telling them to do this stuff. So you write down those 10 names, right? And guess what? Those are going to be first 10 we call. And let me tell you why. You call the 10 hardest, the other thousands are easy. Because now you've gotten your doctor off the list. You've gotten your attorney off the list. You've already talked to your pastor. You've already talked to the people that you're most afraid to talk to. So now for you to go knock on your neighbor's door is not a big deal anymore. So it's called getting through the fear. Getting past the fear early. So now, keys to success. What do you have to have? You got to have a positive mental attitude when?
All the time.
All the time. You also got to do a what? Reality check. I always tell people this all the time. Look at where you are. A lot of times I think we live in a fantasy world, and we'll walk out